the value of comedy. People will love you. Coming to the stage now, and I'm going to get the stage ready. He's the youngest member of our class, and we all love him, and he brings his young bride with him as well. And please welcome, you're going to love him, Terry Lichwater, ladies and gentlemen. Terry! Terry!
Oh, where to start? Well, I'll start with the way I did the other two times I've been up in this particular place, looking at the audience. And the other two times I looked at them and I said, you scare me. Now, you do scare me a little bit, but less. I'm getting, I'm getting used to this. Okay, I got the right distance now, and I'll try to keep it there. Patrick, yell at me or something if I cause too much trouble with this thing.
I never yell at you.
I'll yell at you.
Okay. Well, he's from New Jersey. And New Jersey, that's the Vancouver of the East Coast. Is that original with me, Bill?
Yeah, you just reversed someone's joke. So
Yes. So, you have to meet the situation with whatever you got while you're trying to remember what you were supposed to say. Well, I'm going to go back and tell you about my origin story, so to speak. And I'm not talking about when I was born. I'm talking about when I was conceived. Okay? I want to go back to the real start of all the trouble. Now, I was born in October of 1939. Now, things were different than they are now, and looking around, that gentleman with silver hair there, I thought when I saw him come in, hey, maybe one of them is as old as I. But I don't think so. I'm 84 next month. And that would make me the oldest person in the place except for my wife, which is back in the back. And she is 95 now. And I'll be 84 next month. She'll be 96 next month. She is the best thing that ever happened to me. However, if any of you are younger and contemplating marrying an older woman, there's something you should know. And that is that you will never, ever be able to get sympathy for your advancing age. Or not. Well, anyway, back to origins. And you're going to wonder how I came up with all this knowledge, since most people don't remember their conception. But you're just going to have to believe that I have. See, this is a day and age where there are facts, and then there are alternate facts. And these are my alternate facts. And you can't prove a negative, so you can't prove that they aren't. Now, I was conceived in a very traditional American way. Let's see, which way does this thing work here? Let me move it around a little bit. Okay, and we'll try. As I say, I was conceived in a very traditional American way for the Midwest. This happened in the state of Iowa. I was conceived by my parents, missionary position, in the back seat of a 1935 Chevrolet. And it wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. Now, my parents were kind of the adventurous kind in that respect. They weren't married yet. My father was 22 years old at the time. He was a pilot, had learned to fly by himself. Well, with an instructor, but not, he paid for it. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. And World War II was soon to start, and he was enlisted in the United States Army Air Force. And he was home on leave. And my mother was working as a clerk at I think it was Piggly Wiggly. You probably never heard of Piggly Wiggly, maybe somebody has.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Are you that old? Okay, but you know, it was a different time back then. So you know, FDR was president. John Nance Garner, I believe, was vice president. He was the one that said that the office of the vice presidency is worth a warm bucket of piss. And that's what he's known for. There was no television, no cell phones, and all sorts of things were missing. Now, they were having trouble getting together as much as they wanted. And it was New Year's Eve, and they conceived of this plan. They were going to go to a New Year's celebration. And my mother was kind of an adventurous sort, and what she determined was, why don't we do something different? We could leave quietly just before the ball dropped, so to speak. And we could get out to the car, and we could be having sex as the year turns from 1938 to 1939. And so they made a project out of this. And they executed the project. This was Iowa. It was cold. And I asked this of another group, and they never heard of this, but have you ever heard the phrase, it's so cold, you better bring in any brass monkeys that you know of? Nobody? Oh, well, let me tell you what a brass monkey is. A brass monkey is a little square platform with little ridges, which is used by the British Navy to stack cannonballs in a pyramid. Now, brass has a different coefficient of contraction and expansion than the cannonballs. So when it got really cold, they had to bring in the brass monkeys, because otherwise they would squeeze the cannonballs and the cannonball pyramid would fall and they'd run all over the place. I always thought that they were talking about brass monkeys as in an animal, and that the balls, so cold the balls would fall off. But anyway. So in their planning, they had to carry this up very surreptitiously, because this is 1938, 39. So what they did was, she got ready, she didn't wear any panties that night. And that caused a bit of a problem, which I'll get to in a minute. He parked the car so that it very close to a back door. And just as the excitement was building for the change of the year, they went through that door and went into the back seat. And, the traditional way there, missionary position, he had his pants down his ankles. He slid her dress. So few women wear dress anymore, I could never remember the word. He slid the dress up to her waist and then about to do the deed. But then she complained, the seat is cold. And so he slid the dress back down again. Enough. And then about that time, they started hearing the noise from the celebration. The little horns that they'd blow and so forth and so on. And so they went to it, and just as the horns blew and the year turned, everybody came. He came. She came. I came into existence. It was quite a time there. Now, where was I during this time? I mean, before I was conceived. Well, I was nothing but a little sperm. Okay? Now, I want to tell you my preparation for my part in the situation. A sperm takes 63 days develop. And then they've got to be used within like about 4 or 5 days, otherwise they get absorbed back into the body and so forth. Sperm is always being produced. I'm producing sperm right now. However, since I was 30 years old, that sperm has never gotten any place because I visited the doctor one afternoon with my jock strap and had that taken care of. My first wife wanted it done, and so I did it, and then she divorced me. But you know, that's another story. But back to the sperm. And the average ejaculation, there's about 200 million sperm in the average ejaculation. And they gave us classes as we were developing and told us what to expect. You develop 63 days. You're going to be staged for ejaculation as the situation warrants. And then your best bet is to swim like hell. Because only one of you at most is going to survive. But usually, nobody survives. It's basically a suicide mission. Because number one, wankers, that's a British word, are famous for spilling sperm willy-nilly. So each time, 200 of my fellow sperm dead. Every time. Well, okay. Now, our system for alert to be ready to be expelled was if my father got an erection. If he got an erection, they'd call us up and say, get ready, you may do it, not guaranteed, but you may. Now there was a class in front of us, and they were the ones that were really called, we were the reserve. And normally I think it would have been they who got the experience of that I will relate, but the night before, my father hadn't had a chance to see my mother and so forth and so on, and he got a little needy, and those that felt that they were going to be next for a real, success possibility, they all got spilled in the toilet. So that put us up. Now it was quite a day because you know that most men have up to 3 erections just before they wake up. We're asleep, we don't know it, but it happens. So men, if you're as old as me and you never get to see an erection anymore, set your alarm clock or something. Wake up about half an hour before you normally do and down. You might be surprised. Or put your hand down there. You might even be more surprised. Or get your wife to do it. Who knows what will happen then. But anyway, he'd had 3 of these things before, we got to the party. So we were getting a little tired getting ready and then done. But we were there when he got the erection, and especially when my mother told him that she hadn't worn any panties, that really set him off. And so we got shot out. Now, the first thing we were concerned with was cold outside. So we knew if we got cold suddenly, we weren't in the right place. But it wasn't. It was moist and it was warm. And somebody was like, oh, okay, let's start swimming. But I thought, what if she just gave him a blowjob? I'm in a mouth. That means one of two things. I'm gonna, she's either gonna be a spitter or a swallower. And if she's a spitter, it could be death by cold very shortly. If she's a swallower, hydrochloric acid in the stomach is just gonna be hell. Now the next thought I had is a little risque. What if he had decided to use the back door? It took a moment there, didn't it? They didn't do that much back there in 1938, 39, but it's quite popular now. If you don't believe me, just tune into any porn station. Okay, so, but we were in the right place, and I was swimming like hell. And lo and behold, I became the chosen one. I got to the egg, and there were others there. I wasn't the first one there. They were kind of swarming around it, and they were, hitting it and not getting in and hitting it. But I noticed they didn't keep hitting it in the very same place. And I thought about that, and I thought, oh, wait a minute. I hadn't had mechanical engineering yet in school, but, I was kind of naturally bright. I said, well, okay, I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to keep hitting it at the same place. It worked. The fourth try, I was in. And that releases some kind of chemical or some such, and that makes the skin of the egg really, really tough. And so I was there. I and the egg was now a zygote. That's what they call it, a zygote. And didn't mean that I was going to be a human being yet. That long ways down, and most zygotes never make it. It's the way it is. So, she got pregnant. Now this was, now January 1st. When she missed her January period later on, that caused a little bit of concern, especially since he had taken off to his base that he was assigned. And when she missed her February period, she hit the panic button. And arrangements were made, and back then, it was a very strong German community. Everybody had the same color hair. And yeah, that's right. I had never seen a black man until I was about 10 years old. And I will give you now an example of racism. But racism by a woman who was a very nice woman, my grandmother. We're walking down the street, she's holding my hand, and a black man is on the other side. I had never seen one. It was an object of interest. And I looked, and she said, "Don't stare. It's not his fault that he's like that." And racism sneaks in. You gotta be careful about that. Okay, now let's see. Anyway, they resolved the problem by doing the time-honored thing. And, they got married, but they really still didn't want to admit that they had jumped the gun. And so I came as a fully developed baby, but with only a gestation period of about 6 months. This was accepted because of the fact that there was this saying that the first child can come at any time, subsequent children take 9 months. Now, I was watching, by the way, this thing on Patrick last night on the streaming, which I like. And saw you, Denny, on streaming. And you, and so on and so on. Hello, everybody that's streaming and the like. And now I'm trying to, anyway, oh yeah, somebody lost it a little. Oh, I hadn't lost it at the last. And Now, I'm losing it at the last, but give me a moment here. And, well, I better quit because it's getting a little late. Anyway, damn, and I thought I had a good way to end this thing, too. Well, I do, in that, you see, at 83, almost 84, I can get away with this. Well, another senior moment. So I'm going to give, I know what I did want to say. That stairs is tricky. You, like me, are having balance problems, which I am. And also, where's Mark? Anyway, Mark said Mark, you were complaining about being only 5 feet 7.5 or something like that?
All the way to the half inch, yes.
Yeah. I used to be 5'8", bigger than you. Used to be. I have now
We're
shrunk
not talking below the
to
waist.
5'7". I mean, 5'5". No, 5'6". 5'6". Oh God, the senior moments are coming too fast. I'm gonna leave.
Very nice, Robert.